Stop the fascist coup. Stop the fascist coup. United Front now. United Front now. My name is Steve Zeltzer. I'm with the United Front Committee for a Labor Party, and we're here in front of the San Francisco Federal Building on January 6, 2022. And this is the one-year anniversary of the attempted coup, the insurrection at the Capitol. And this is a serious issue for working people, for the future of the United States, the future of the world. Because if they had been successful in stopping the certification of the election, Trump would have kept in power. So the issue of what to do about the rise of fascism, the threat to a fascist government in the United States is a real issue. And that's why we're here today on the one-year anniversary. And we believe that we need a united front of working people in the United States, of unions, of oppressed organizations, to unite together to fight the danger of a coup. And the fact of the matter is the Democrats who are in charge of Congress have still refused, the people that they've appointed, including Garland of the Justice Department, have refused to prosecute Trump and the conspirators who were organizing this insurrection, despite the fact that Trump said he wanted the votes rigged. So Trump was actually personally trying to overthrow the government. Now, what that should be called is treason against the Constitution, but they refuse to raise that, and they refuse to engage in a political campaign to really expose it. So what we're saying is the working class, the unions. Now, the Vermont AFL-CIO, prior to the January 6th, warned that the need for a general strike, the threat of a coup, the threat of an insurrection, and the need for the unions to launch a general strike. And other labor councils around the country, the Labor Council in Madison, Wisconsin, the Martin Luther King Labor Council in Seattle, and others called for a general strike, supported a general strike if there was an insurrection. Unfortunately, the AFL-CIO, Richard Trumka, the head of it, tried to stop this debate and discussion. We need a debate and discussion in the labor movement against any kind of coup, any kind of insurrection. But not only did he try to stop the discussion, he threatened the Vermont AFL-CIO that he would put them in trusteeship if they passed a resolution for a general strike. What does that really say? That the president of the AFL-CIO would put a labor council, a state body, in a trusteeship for discussing and taking action for a general strike? What does it take for the unions in this country to wake up and prepare and organize for the threat of a coup and a fascist government? This is what we're talking about in this country. So what we're saying is that this is a severe threat to democratic rights in this country. We have to say that we need to stand up. We need to fight against any kind of threat of a fascist coup. This is a real threat to the people of this country. It's a real threat to the rights, the democratic rights of all people. So what we're saying is this is not only an American question, it's an international question. Fascists, Bolsonaro, and people all over the world are actually organizing for fascist coups, are attacking leftists, are attacking people who want to defend democratic rights.
This is a song dedicated to Jim Jordan, Paul Gosar, Bo Brooks, Andy Biggs. They call them the Steel Team Dicks. And we hope that they rot in jail. So this is a song by Grant Peoples that he wrote, and it's called, goes, let's all remember the day in 21, the 6th of January, when the deadly deed was done. They charged right up the hallowed steps and busted down the doors. They were shoving past and breaking glass and spitting on the floors. It was an insurrection, so patriots must stand and heed the call for justice. Let leniency be damned. If freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose, the Team Dicks must rot in jail for what they tried to do. My glasses are fogging up. Just give me a second now. Welcome to foggy San Francisco, where even if you're going to change the world, you still have to clear your glasses. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so this is, let me get this here. Okay, great. Okay, so if anybody wants Andres, why don't you take a copy of the lyrics? Okay, all right. Okay, the violent mob of QAnon, the Proud Boys and Boogaloos, the fascist thugs and racists, a band of angry fools. They were chanting words of treason with flags that called the name of the lying lame duck loser, the one who stole the flame. It was an insurrection, so patriots must stand and heed the call for justice. Let leniency be damned. Is freedom's just another word for all we have to lose? Let the SEAL Team dicks must rot in jail for what they tried to do. They were, when you hear the cry for unity, for questioning the facts, remember it's bad faith and lies that led the coup attack, or on the darkened day in history. Let it not be forgotten that coup's a coup no matter who planned the evil plot. It was an insurrection, so patriots must stand and heed the call for justice. Let leniency be damned if freedom's just another word for all we have to lose. Let the insurrectionists rot in jail for what they tried to do. And what now of Merrick Garland? Will he take up the fight? Or will he let the fascists off the hook and fail to do what's right? Will he call for justice or let democracy fail? Will he just play politics? We say put the orange orangutan in jail. An insurrection. Is freedom freedom's just another word for all we have to lose? The SEAL Team dicks must rot in jail for what they tried to do. If freedom's just another word for all we have to lose, the insurrectionists must rot in jail for what they tried to do.
Rally has been initiated by the United Front Committee for a Labor Party. We need a united front in this country against the rise of fascism. It's a threat to working people and of this country, to black people, brown people. The Rittenhouse murders will take place all over the country if they come back to power. And people don't seem to understand that. This is an existential threat to democratic rights and the people of this country and the world. And we need to stand up and fight it. Our next speaker is Mary Jane Galviso, and she's a labor activist, a farmer, and has been fighting for a united front movement.
We're here in front of the Federal Building, San Francisco, and I agree with Steve. You wonder what it's going to take to wake up people, especially those of us who say that we have the consciousness, we have left consciousness, we know what's happening in this country. You need to show up. You need to show up, because if you don't show up, the right is showing up. And the right is getting more vicious, more active, and as you're saying, spreading that type of disinformation that is putting us in harm's way. Listen, the battle about guns is really about who owns the guns, right? Because we know that the guns are being pointed at us. This is a way to encourage, to promote strife among the working class. Get the most vicious and the right wing within the working class and make us their enemy. Make people of color, make immigrants, make us the enemy. And that's what we have to push back, because that's what the January 6th was all about. They were saying that they were trying to take back democracy. They're trying to take back this country for the real owners. Well, who really owns this nation? But the workers who built this nation. And in large part, it has been people of color, it has been immigrants, it has been women, it has been all of us who have built this nation. So it's important for all the organization. Again, we're calling for all organizations to join us in the United Front. We are all conditioned with, if You live in a racist society. There's no escaping that those seeds of racism are being planted in all our minds. The seeds of national chauvinism that somehow white nations, the United States, is superior to the other countries of the world. It's all planted. We're all conditioned with those ideas. But the most awful part about it is, and what they really used was the insecurity among workers, the fear that they would lose their jobs, that they would lose whatever little that they had in this country. And who was going to take it from them? Not the capitalists. No, they pointed the fingers to those who had even less, to the poor, to the immigrants, to those who were not part of the dominant society. And in this country, where are the fingers being pointed, and where are the guns going to be pointed at? It's towards people of color. I mean, you know, Rittenhouse's mother, all right, and all these white women, right, even in Sandy Hook, who bought their sons guns as presents, right? What do you think? You know that those guns are not intended to protect private property. They're intended to kill. They're intended to create the type of social upheaval that divides workers. And that is the most important thing that we need to keep in mind. And that's why, again, it's important to create the united front. It's important to bring together workers of all world and of all within this country. It's important to reach out to white workers so they cannot be manipulated to join the fascist movements.
This threat of fascism in this country has to be taken seriously. And unfortunately, many people in this country are still asleep at the wheel. They don't understand the dangers of it. And they have to wake up. It's wake-up time. Because what happened with Rittenhouse, what happened with these racist attacks who were at the Capitol, is that they wanted to overthrow the U.S. government. They wanted Trump to stay into office, and that's why they tried to stop the certification. And it's interesting that if it had been black or brown people or trade unionists, they would have mowed them down, machine gunned them down. But since they were white, racist, and supporters of Trump, they were handled with kid gloves, even though they were killing people, even though they were beating people. So that's the double standard in this country that we have. The left is attacked, the left is beaten up, murdered, and yet these racists have a free hand. And it's a danger of the police. The police and the Democrats will not defend this country. The police and the Democrats will not, the military will not defend this country. The working class has to be organized politically. We have to have a labor party, a mass workers' democratic labor party to fight to defend us.
This is a song by Grant Peebles. Grant Peebles is from Belfast, Northern Ireland, and he wrote this song. Let us all remember the day in 21, the 6th of January, when the deadly deed was done. They charged right up the hallowed steps and busted down the doors. They were shoving past and breaking glass and spitting on the floors. It was an insurrection, so patriots must stand and heed the call for justice. Let leniency be damned. If freedom's just another word for all we have to lose, still the team dicks must rot in jail for what they tried to do. The violent mob of QAnon, Proud Boys and Boogaloos, the fascist thugs and racists, and bands of angry fools. They were chanting words of treason, the flags they call the name of the lying lame duck loser, the one who stole the flame. There was an insurrection, so patriots must stand and heed the call for justice. Let leniency be damned. Is freedom's just another word, therefore all we have to lose? The insurrectionists must rot in jail for what they tried to do. So when you hear the cry for unity, for questioning the facts. Remember, it's bad faith and lies that led the coup attack. On the darkened day of history, let it not be forgotten that coup's a coup no matter who planned the evil plot. It was an insurrection, the plan, so patriots must stand and heed the call for justice. Let leniency be damned. If freedom's just another word for all we have to lose, let the insurrectionists everywhere go to jail for what they tried to do. And now, what of Merrick Garland? Will he take up the fight? Or will he let the fascists off the hook and fail to do what's right? Will he call for justice or let democracy fail? Or will he play just politics? Well, I say, and we say, let the orange orangutan go to jail. It was an insurrection, so patriots must stand and heed the call for justice. Let leniency be damned. Is freedom just another word for all we have to lose? The insurrectionists all must rot in jail for what they tried to do. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
And for the FBI, if you're on here checking this out, that song was not written by me. It was written by Grant Peoples, and I like him.
Okay, the homophobic attack that the fascists are making, and we have to stand up and organize. So our next speaker at this rally is Nancy Cato, and she's part of the Freedom Socialist Party. Welcome, Nancy.
Thank you very much. I'm so glad we're having this day throughout the country, basically saying what happened on January 6, 2020, where the fascists and the neo-fascists tried to take over the Capitol. We're to say no. We said it then, we're continuing to say it, no. Democracy is an important part of every movement, and we fight like hell to make sure that there is democracy. As long as capitalism exists, the possibility of fascism is always going to be there. It is part and parcel of the capitalist system. It's not some strange, abstract, separate thing from capitalism. It's what fascism is what the capitalists use in order to save their own asses when things get really bad. Exactly, divide and conquer. And I appreciate what the previous speaker had said with regards to how they're trying to divide us as a working class based on our race, our sex, our gender, our sexuality, our immigrant status, language, all those things. But on the other hand, what we're also seeing in this period of time is a renewed militancy in the labor movement, particularly among both organized and unorganized workers, where they are coming together and saying, no more. They are standing up against the bosses, they're standing up against the government. And that is what is really important to see. Qualitatively, this is a big, important shift in our favor. Sometimes all we hear is the bad news. But we also have to recognize the good news, which frankly is a little harder to find sometimes, but thanks to Steve's great work and other people, we're able to hear more of the individualized struggles that corporate media doesn't want to report on, and also the kind of analysis that, shows us that it's working people who are taking the lead on these issues. So on this day, we move forward, continue to move forward to say no more to fascism. We are going to build, and we must build a revolutionary movement that is inclusive. We must build a united front where we can come together on a few basic demands. We don't have to agree on everything and anything. That's not the point of a united front. But a united front as a tactic, as an organizational strategy is key in order for us to bring all the diverse factors of the working class that have been divided by all the isms thrown at us. It's an opportunity for us to work side by side, link arms, stand shoulder to shoulder to fight against the same issues for our class, the working class. So I'm very positive, I'm very optimistic about our ability to do this. And And again, today is, when you look at the Indy Bay calendar, there's quite a few different demonstrations in the Bay Area alone, from the suburbs to the urban cities. Again, that says something about people's willingness and understanding that we need to stand up, we need to organize, and we don't have to wait for other people to do it. We can do it ourselves. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Nancy. And the time is now, and working people have to get organized. We have to organize ourselves. The Democrats are not going to save us. The Democrats are not going to save us. Let's wake up, people in this country. Waiting for the Democrats is allowing the fascists and the Nazis to organize. That is a danger, a great danger. And I think the illusion that people had about Biden, that he would be different, is being really shattered, that illusion. Biden is carrying out the policies of imperialism. The Democrats and Republicans are united for militarization, are united for more wars, encircling China, encircling Russia. I mean, they're united on sanctions against Cuba, on sanctions against Venezuela, on sanctions against China, on sanctions against countries like North Korea, where there's starvation. Why would this country want sanctions in these countries? That's an act of war against these countries, on Iran and other countries. So we're in solidarity with workers in this country, with workers around the world. We're for internationalism. Our struggle in this country is an international struggle. Workers here are united, are linked up through multinationals of workers throughout the world, and we have to build solidarity links. We have to work together internationally. Stop the war on working people!